Hey guys, this is Trenardino here, and today I am back, and I have a brand new, long version of a What If story for all you guys. As you have seen, a lot of YouTubers have picked up the topic of what if Ash woke up on time, and I will be linking all those stories in the description below, so be sure to check them out. They're all awesome. One thing that I've noticed is that Enter the Unknown started it with Ash picking Squirtle. Someone else started it with Ash picking Bulbasaur. Dex Comics started it with Ash picking Charmander. Originally Ash picked Pikachu, so that leaves only one Kanto starter, and that is one of my favorite Pokemon, Eevee. And it just didn't feel right to me that this sequence was incomplete, so that's why I've decided to make this video. And this will not this is not my intent to join in the hype train or copy something. This is just an amazing scenario no matter how you see it, and so that is why I'm taking this up. There may be some things that would be similar to the other videos, and that is because this is a scenario based what if, and most of the times one the effect of a scenario is common in every story no matter how you go. So without further ado, let's begin. This is What If Ash Woke Up on Time, the Kanto part. Now, now the thing that changes in our story is definitely Ash waking up on time, but it is not as early as you would expect. This time he wakes up, let's just say, an hour earlier than he originally did. So that means when he goes to pick up his Pokemon, he's still pretty late for normal standards. So he's unable to get his desirable Squirtle or Charmander or Bulbasaur, and Professor Oak makes an exception and gives him a starter that he keeps for reserve. In the original timeline, this was of course Pikachu, but this time there will be a slight change. So to honor the Let's Go games, this time instead of Pikachu, it's an Eevee. Professor Oak gives the Pokeball to Ash. He tells him that Eevee is a starter which is difficult to raise, as it won't have the elemental advantage that the other three starters would have had. Ash is indifferent to this concept, as he is just happy to get his first Pokemon, as he thought that he had missed his chance to get any Pokemon in the first place. So instead of Pikachu, this is Eevee this time, and unlike Pikachu, this Eevee is not hostile towards Ash or anything like that. This is just a normal Pokemon without any special talent so far. As they go on to Route 1, they encounter Pidgey, and this time, thanks to Eevee being obedient, Ash is able to catch Pidgey, this making him his first capture, way earlier than the original timeline. Because of the absence of because he woke up on time and the absence of the Spearow incident, there is no involvement of Team Rocket, and that means that the Pokemon Center in Viridian City does not blow up. And because of this, there is no stealing Misty's bike, so we don't have Misty in this scenario so far. But however, when he goes to the Pokemon Center, he still encounters the poster and decides to enter the league in order to become a Pokemon master, as it was his original goal after all. After this, he goes into Viridian Forest, and things change quite a lot here. Because he already has Pidgey, when he encounters Pidgeotto, he's not super keen on capturing it, as he already has its pre-evolved part, and he would rather evolve his first capture rather than getting a head start and catching the second evolution straight away. When he encounters Weedle, and he will not be encountering Caterpie because Misty won't be here to point it to him. When he encounters Weedle, he's he's distracted by a trainer named Samurai, and as the result, the Weedle gets away. Ash is pissed off at this and challenges Samurai to a battle. Samurai of course accepts this, as he sends out his Pinsir against Ash's Pidgey. Ash has no idea about type advantage, and this is just him going on a hunch. He orders Pinsir Pinsir charges forward with a Vice Grip attack, but Ash orders Pidgey to use a Gust attack, which it used against Eevee in their capture battle. And surprisingly, Gust is able to push Pinsir back quite a bit. Followed by this, Ash orders another gust attack which damages Pinsir even more. Pinsir is unable to close the distance because PG is just too fast for him and the type advantage eventually gets to him as he gets taken out. After this, Samurai sends out Metapod and Ash sends out Eevee. Due to Eevee knowing tackle and quick attacks, this battle is just a long game of attacking and absorbing. Metapod continues to harden itself, however, the chipping damage eventually gets to him and after a long, one-sided battle, Metapod goes down to Eevee's tackle and quick attacks. However, Eevee takes damage after hitting Metapod so many times. So Ash and Samurai congratulates Ash on winning the battle and helps heal his Pokemon as a return gift. After this, Ash goes on to Pewter City to challenge the gym. There he encounters Brock, and as usual, he gets wrecked by his Onix, as neither PG nor Eevee is able to cause any damage to the Rock Snake Pokemon. He encounters Flint again, and instead of supercharging Pikachu this time, he offers to train Eevee and PG both in type coverage moves. This means that Ash is able to learn more about type coverage at the beginning of his journey itself, and this time he takes it seriously. I will be adding this aspect because it seems pretty stupid that despite being reminded of it time after time, Ash never uh, adheres to this lesson, but this time he will. Flint helps in teaching PG Steel Wing and EV the Dig Attack, both of which are viable against rock types, as Ash's team so far is completely weak to rock type. The next Ash goes to the gym and he sends out Eevee first. Eevee is able to take out Geodude after repeated Steel Wing attacks, as Geodude is unable to land any offense on PG because of its speed advantage. After this, Onyx comes in and takes out PG yet again. Ash sends out Eevee, and although Eevee has a speed advantage and is able to connect with Tiggs, Onyx is able to follow Eevee underground. This is a long and grueling battle, at the end of which eventually repeated dig attacks prove to be too much for Onyx as it goes down. However, Eevee goes down soon after. Brock, despite Eevee going down, declares Ash the winner as Onyx went down first, and he gives him the Boulder Badge, and as a fav- and asks Ash a favor to travel with him in order to become the best Pokemon breeder, as this has always been his dream to do so. And because of Flint arriving, Brock is able to do just that. After this, they go to Mount Moon, where the event takes place as usual. After the Mount Moon saga, where Brock catches a Zubat, they travel to Cerulean City. They immediately go to Cerulean Gym, and there, because of him arriving a bit earlier than usual, he is able to battle the Water Flowers. PG is able to take down Goldeen after gust attacks, and in this process he evolves into Pidgeotto. However, despite evolving Pidgeotto is not powerful enough to take on the Starmie, which after confusion attacks and Water Gun takes down Pidgeotto. Eevee comes in next and is able to use the platforms on the water field to land quick attack and tackle. And due to the previous battle with Pidgeotto, Starmie gets tired and eventually is taken down. This was also a close battle just like the previous one, and Ash is able to win the Cascade match after a bit of difficulty. The later events go on as in the usual timeline. Ash is able to catch Bulbasaur, Charmander, and after this he travels to Babylon City where he meets Landsurge. As he battles Raichu with Eevee, the battle goes as per the original timeline. However, this time Eevee is able to land some more offense due to it knowing Dig Attack. Coupled with this is the speed advantage which originally Pikachu was unable to use. And because of this, Eevee is able to connect with a powerful Dig Attack which eventually KOs Raichu. And this gives Ash his third consecutive gym battle victory and the Rainbow Badge from Lieutenant Surge. After this, as usual, the group goes to Saffron City, and they immediately go on to the Saffron City gym where they encounter Sabrina. And this goes on as the original timeline. Ash meets Sabrina, Ash gets wrecked by her Kadabra, Ash goes to get Haunter, and Haunter makes Sabrina laugh, thereby giving Ash the Marsh patch. However, one thing that changes in this timeline is Ash actually picks up Haunter as his next Pokemon, as he did not have Squirtle in this timeline, and Brock is conscious enough to remind Ash that because Haunter was able to battle Sabrina at this level, Haunter may be a great addition to his team. And Haunter, being the friendly Pokemon it is, it decides to join Ash to travel the world a bit more. After this, the event of the Primeape episode takes place, but this time Mankey is unable to evolve into Primeape so soon because of James not kicking him. However, Ash is still able to catch the Mankey with the help of Charmander. After this, they go on to Celadon City, where Ash straightaway goes into Celadon Gym because of Misty's absence. There he battles Erika, who is not pissed at him because he did not make fun of her perfume, like the original timeline. Charmander is able to take out Weepinbell, and Pidgeotto is able to take out Gloom, thereby giving Ash the Rainbow Badge. Because he knows about the type advantages and is a bit better at battling this time, there is no room for error. After winning so many matches consecutively, Ash is getting a little bit overconfident, as his only real defeat so far was his battle against Sabrina the first time. After this, the event of the Psyduck episode takes place. However, this time, because Mystery is not there, Brock tricks Ash into accepting the Psyduck, saying that reminding Ash that how powerful Sabrina was with her Kadabra, and Psyduck has similar psychic abilities. And on top of that, it is a water Pokemon, a type which Ash has not caught yet. Ash buys into this and he accepts Psyduck as his Pokemon. Next, the events of the P1 Grand Prix takes place. However, this time because Mankey is Mankey is not evolved at the start of the tournament and has a much harder time. However, it is able to evolve in its battle against Machamp and is able to take down the 4 round Pokemon. After this, Primeape loses in the final to Anthony and his Hitmonchan because it was not evolved for so long, and just evolving right now because of pure adrenaline, he gets tired quickly and is able to take and is taken out by the much more experienced fighting type. And because of this, Anthony never takes interest in Primeape and Ash does not get conned like in the original timeline because, like, let's be honest, will we ever see Primeape again? I don't think so. Next, the event of the power plant takes place as Ash is able to capture his Muk, making it his 7th Pokemon. After this, he goes on to Fuchsia City where he battles Koga. He is able to take down Koga's Venomoth with his Pidgeotto. However, Pidgeotto is taken down by Golbat quickly after, and Ash sends out his Psyduck to counter the poison type using his psychic attacks. Psyduck, however, is a sitting duck in this fight as he is not able to mount any offense, and his water gun is just a small spot of water, which which barely causes any damage to Golbat. However, when Koga orders a bite attack, Golbat accidentally bites Psyduck's head, and this triggers its psychic ability, completely overpowering Golbat and defeating him. Next, the events of the Safari Zone takes place, minus the gun of course, as Ash is able to capture Tauros, and because of the lack of intervention of Team Rockets, he is also able to catch the Rhyhorn which he originally intended to. After this, they go to Cinnabar Island, where because of lack of Misty, they take a while longer to figure out the riddles, but they are eventually able to enter the gym and battle Blaine. Blaine sends out his Ninetales, and Ash sends out his Charmander. After a close-fought battle, Charmander is able to defeat Ninetales, and this triggers its evolution into a Charmeleon. Charmeleon battles Rhydon next and is able to use the same strategy that Pikachu used, firing a flamethrower straight at its horn. Although it takes damage, it's able to defeat Rhydon after a close battle. Next, Magmar comes in, and this is where the battle turns around, as Magmar is able to overpower Charmeleon and defeat him with a powerful Fire Blast. Eevee comes in next, and due to it knowing dig this time and having the speed advantage, it is able to take out Magmar after a long and grueling battle. This gives Ash the Volcano badge, and after this, he travels to back to Viridian City to challenge the Viridian City gym. And due to Jesse and James not being here, some random grunt battles Ash, and he's able to defeat the gym Pokemon after Bulbasaur finally evolves into Ivysaur. And this is because Charmander evolved naturally and did not get the crazy boost it got by defeating the Executors. And because it evolved naturally, there is no scenario for it going out of its mind and acting all arrogant. And there is a theory that that Bulbasaur and Squirtle did not evolve in the original timeline because they were afraid they would have a drastic personality change, just like Charmander did. However, as this time the growth of Charmander is a lot more natural and well-paced, there is no scenario for Bulbasaur having such feelings, as it gladly evolves into Ivysaur after defeating the Rhydon. This gives Ash the Earth Badge, making it his final badge before he gets to compete in the Indigo League. After this he travels back to Pallet Town where he meets Gary, and because of the absence of Team Rocket once again, they are able to have their battle. However, this time they agree to have a 3-on-3 battle instead of a full 6-on-6. Here Gary first sends out his Nidoking and Ash sends out Haunter, finally finally being able to use the Pokemon because of his full experience of having the 8 badges. This is a close battle as Haunter is able to mount some great offense. However, due to Ash's inexperience of battling with Haunter, Nidoking is able to take down the Ghost type after a close fought battle. Next, Gary sends out his Arcanine and Ash sends out his Charmeleon. However, Charmeleon's fire type moves fail in comparison to Arcanine's and Arcanine is able to take down the second stage evolution relatively quickly. This gives Ash a real feel into how a real battle is, where the because so far he has fought gym leaders and was able to win all his matches without much difficulty. However, this time he's feeling the true heat of a battle. As they both sent out the starter Pokemon, Gary sends out Blastoise and Ash sends out Eevee. And although Eevee has the speed advantage, this battle goes south real fast as Eevee is unable to land any much offense on Blastoise. And when it uses a dig to burrow itself underground, Blastoise is able to fire a Hydro Pump straight at the hole which flushes out Eevee. After this, Blastoise connects with a Skull Bash which knocks Eevee out, giving Gary a 3-0 victory over Ash. Gary says that Ash needs way more work if he wants to advance any further into the Indigo League. And this time Ash takes it to heart, as he did not expect to lose 3-0 against his rival. He asks Brock to help him train, and Brock gladly accepts. So unlike the original timeline, the time he has before the Indigo League is spent on actual preparation rather than traveling around aimlessly. And this training pays off as Charmeleon, because of its defeat to Magmar and Arcanine respectively, is able to channel its emotion and evolve into a powerful Charizard, finally gaining the power advantage which it clearly lacked in its previous battles. Pidgeotto also after traveling with us for so long is able to evolve into its final stage of Pidgeotto. However, and Ivysaur, Haunter, and Eevee, and the other Pokemon that Ash got are also able to grow a bit stronger. And although Psyduck grows stronger too, he is unable to evolve as Ash is still having trouble controlling the Duck type. After this, he travels to the Indigo Plateau where he meets Richie, and the ceremony takes place as usual. In their first round matchup, instead of Krabby, this time it's Psyduck against Executor. And after some dumb luck, Psyduck is able to defeat Executor, and this finally triggers its evolution into Golduck. And just like the original, the evolved water type is able to completely blast through the opponent's team, giving Ash a 3-0 victory in his first round match. After this, after this, instead of Bulbasaur and Squirtle doing the work in his next fight, Ash is able to use a trick to evolve his Haunter, as Brock suggests that he sends Haunter to Professor Oak, instead of his another Pokemon and exchanges it right back, and this would trigger its evolution into Gengar. And this pays off as Gengar is able to sweep the team with relative ease, finally defeating the opponent's Nidorino in his last battle. After this, Ash fights in his third round battle against Pete Petalby from Pewter City, and and this time also Ash excels relatively quickly, as his Charizard is able to defeat almost all of its Pokemon and finally defeating its Arcanine, thereby redeeming itself for the time it lost to Gary's Arcanine, and finally proving to itself that it can hold its own against the other powerful fire types of the region. Gary's battle, however, sadly goes the same as he is defeated by Melissa, and Golem proves to be much stronger than Nidoking. Ash's next battle is against Janet Fisher, and this goes just like the original. However, this time it's even easier, as due to Ivysaur, due to Bulbasaur being evolved, he's able to take out Scyther and Bellsprout and Beedrill, thereby giving Ash a clean sweep. Ash's next opponent is of course Richie, and due to the lack of Team Rocket, there are no shenanigans before the fight. The battle begins as Ash sends out Pidgeot and Richie sends out Butterfree, and this goes just as you expect it to be. Pidgeot is able to completely destroy Butterfree, but however is taken down by Sparky in the next round. Ash sends out Eevee as the two starter Pokemon battle it out. This is an extremely close battle, however Eevee is able to gain the edge with a Dig attack which takes out Sparky. However, soon enough, Richie sends out Zippo, who is able to take down Eevee with a flamethrower. Ash's last Pokemon is his Charizard, who unlike the original timeline obeys as this time, and as you would expect, Zippo has nothing against its fully evolved counterpart, and is defeated relatively quickly, thereby giving Ash the victory. The next battle Ash has is against the trainer who originally defeated Richie, and although not much is known about her team, it can be inferred that her team was barely able to beat Richie's, and this time, due to Ash's team being much better than the original timeline, Ash is able to defeat her using Tauros, Primeape, and Ivysaur. Although Tauros and Primeape go down, Ash is able to defeat her Ivysaur with his own, thereby winning his first full battle with only two of his Pokemon down and three of his Pokemon revealed. Ash's next battle is against Melissa, the same trainer who was able to defeat Gary, and this battle is is not like the previous ones. The battle starts off as Melissa sends out her Golem and Ash sends out his Rhyhorn. This is a complete all-out war between the rock and ground type. However, Golem seems to have the power advantage as it slams Rhyhorn around. The months of training with Rhyhorn finally pays off as it evolves into Rhydon. Rhydon has the power advantage now and is able to defeat Golem after a double earthquake. However, Rhydon has taken a lot of damage, and when Melissa sends out her second Pokemon Alakazam, Rhydon is not able to mount any offense and is taken down by a powerful psychic attack. Ash Ash thinks that he has been here before and he knows exactly what to do. He sends out Gengar next, and this is a complete mystic showdown between the ghost and the psychic type. The battle ends after Gengar fires a Shadow Ball and Alakazam fires a Psychic Attack, resulting in a huge explosion which takes out both Pokemon. Melissa's next Pokemon is Victreebel, and Ash, getting overconfident, sends out his Charizard, thinking it would be an easy battle. However, Melissa is able to catch him off guard and is able to put Charizard to sleep using Victreebel's sleep powder. This forces Ash to recall Charizard and send out Ivysaur next. Although this battle is tough, Ivysaur has the overall power advantage and the experience of battling against tougher opponents, and is able to defeat Victreebel. The next Pokemon Melissa sends out is a prehistoric monster Aerodactyl. Ivysaur, after being so tired from battling Victreebel, has nothing for the fossil type, as it's able to take down Ivysaur with a Skydrop attack. Ash sends out Charizard, and after Charizard takes a couple of hits from Aerodactyl's wing attack, it finally wakes up as it takes it to the air. This is an all-out aerial battle between the two flying types, and It ends after Aerodactyl tries a sky drop on Charizard, and Charizard is able to reverse it into a seismic toss. However, the toll of the battle takes takes both of them out, resulting in yet another double knockout. Ash sends out his second to last Pokemon, Muk, and Melissa sends out Gyarados. Muk tries its best to hold its own against the powerful water type, however, it's fighting an uphill battle. Although Muk is able to poison Gyarados with a poison gas attack, it's taken down after a powerful earthquake by the Gyarados. Ash, down to his last Pokemon, sends out his starter, Eevee, and Eevee is able to take down the poison Gyarados with a move that he learned from its defeat to Gary's Blastoise. This, of course, is Skull Bash. Skull Bash takes down Gyarados and brings Melissa down to her last Pokemon as well. This is Jolteon. Ash is completely shocked to see it's the evolution in front of him, and Melissa tells Ash that he made a huge mistake not evolving his Eevee into any one of the three types that he had a chance, them being Flareon, Vaporeon, and the Pokemon which is right in front of him, Jolteon. However, Ash says that he likes Eevee the way it is, and it is Eevee's choice to evolve or not, and they are going to prove to Melissa that evolution does not matter. The battle begins as Eevee starts off with a quick attack. However, Jolteon uses its own quick attack and is able to land first, causing more damage. Jolteon fires a Thunderbolt and Ash orders Eevee to use Dig, which connects, causing huge damage to Jolteon. However, Jolteon counters with a swift attack, and when Eevee tries to dodge it with Dig, the swift follows Eevee under the hole and hits it underground, causing it to come out. Jolteon connects with a powerful Thunderbolt attack as Eevee barely manages to dodge it. After this, Jolteon uses Double Team to surround Eevee on all sides and fire a Thunderbolt. However, Eevee is able to dodge it by going underground. Jolteon, anticipating its coming out spot, jumps into the air and fires a swift attack, and as soon as Eevee comes out of the hole to attack one of its clones, it's caught off guard with the swift. Ash, realizing that he has only one move left as Eevee has taken a lot of damage, orders Eevee to use the Skull Bash attack, and as Eevee charges at Jolteon, something really bad happens. The Thunderbolt which Jolteon had connected earlier to Eevee finally takes its toll as sparks appear around Eevee and it's paralyzed mid-move. This gives Melissa a chance to use a Thunderbolt which finally takes down Ash's last Pokemon, thus eliminating him from the tournament. This is of course a huge blow to Ash, as he never expected to lose at this point. He had done almost everything right up to this point. He had taken his loss seriously and bounced back with some great wins in the Pokemon League. However, this is where he realizes that sometimes, no matter what you do, there is always someone stronger than you, and this is a lesson that he intends to keep. Unfortunately, we don't know who wins the battle, but we can say for sure is that Melissa makes it to the final round. And although Ash is disappointed, he learns a lesson from this. And this is actually a lot better than the original timeline, as this time he's able to reach the semi-final round. And this will bring this part to an end. And guys, thank you for watching. This was a really difficult one for me to do so, as you can see it took a long time. And I would really appreciate if it gets 10 likes, and then we can continue to the Orange Island or the Johto part, whichever one you like. So thank you for watching, guys. God bless.